Okay, it's live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to SBR's first Google Hangout here. Today, joining us is Stuart and Lee Phelps, two regular guests on our shows here. Stuart, can you tell us about yourself, please, for the viewers logging in for the first time?
Yeah, sure. I don't have anything for pets, so I don't know how good this is going to be. But I am the one-time tipster liaison for Bet Advisor. I've now left that company. I'm working on my own. Currently working on my own site, Talking Tipsters, and also working with you as an SBR contributor, which is a lot of fun, I have to say.
That's right, yeah. And you've been with us for about 4 years, I believe, giving us winning tips. So glad to have you on board here.
Yeah, I don't think it's 4 years because it's only about three and a half, I think. We'll call it.
All right, and Lee Phelps, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm a broadcaster working for William Hill on Inplay Radio, which is a live betting service. Basically, concentrate on obviously on in-play betting, but obviously do a lot of podcasts for them as well as the videos that I do with yourself and the written articles. So I just like guessing at bets, and sometimes they land and sometimes they don't. But I figure if you put a good argument up, then at least you're getting halfway there.
All right. Well, today we've got a competition on our hands. The three of us are pitted against each other, and we're going to see who guesses the correct on the over or under the Premier League matches happening this weekend. Now we're going to start. We're going to take it in turns. We're going to start with obviously the first match, Chelsea versus West Brom, and I'm going to start with you, Stuart. Chelsea versus West Brom, the over or the under, and why?
Well, I've actually gone for the over on this one. Chelsea they're looking like the title challengers. Well, they are title challengers, but they're looking like everyone's selection for title winners, really. They're going to be missing Cesc Fabregas, who sat out last international match, but apparently Diego Costa might make this one. Now, my understanding is that he probably is going to miss it because he's been unfit. He's had an ankle injury. It's plagued him for most of the season, and this isn't the toughest game. And a physical approach like the kind that Diego Drogba provides, I think he'll be up for this one. For West Brom, they're missing Jonas Olsen, but Sebastian Pocognoli might be back. I just don't think that's enough. I think this one's going to go over 2.5, and I think all 3 goals or more could come from Chelsea.
Okay, Lee, what do you think here, over or under?
Yeah, I mean, I was toying with the idea just to be different of going under and thinking about a Chelsea 2-0 win. Like Stuart, I can't see West Brom scoring in this game. I think recently Cedar Berahino's goals have dried up quite a lot, and he doesn't score many goals away from home if you look at his statistics. West Brom are averaging 3 shots on target a game. Now you're relying on them to score one of those 3. I don't think it'll happen, but I do think Chelsea will get more than 2. They've had this habit recently of just getting the job done away at Shrewsbury Town, the League Cup 1-2-1. The 1-1 draw in Maribor in the Champions League. They beat QPR by 2-1, Liverpool by 2-1. I think Mourinho, coming back from the international break, will want them to put the pedal down a little bit more here. I think it'll be 3-0, so I'm also going over 2.5.
Okay, and I'm agreeing to the over 2.5 goals. I think Chelsea personally can score the over 2.5 goals on their own. They're league leaders, highest scorers. The only argument, say, for going for the under is obviously that West Brom has only conceded 5 on the road here. But you can't deny Chelsea's scoring ability here. So I'm going with the over. And the odds here, we are actually siding with the bookies. The over is priced 1.67. The under 2.45 there. All right, so we're all in agreement here. Next match is Everton versus West Ham. Lee, over to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think team news is a big thing here. If Diafra Sakho isn't playing because he's picked up an injury on the international break, then I think maybe they'll struggle to score West Ham. I mean, you look at the scoring patterns for both teams, though, and they've both been scoring so many goals. The last time I went overs on the goals with Everton is when they drew 0-0 at home to Swansea. So it kind of hurt me a little bit. But I think, the way Everton are shaping up this season, they have to score goals. Lukaku, obviously a very good player. They've got goals in them, Everton. And I don't think West Ham are going to sit back. They'll allow Everton the possession. They'll hit them on the break. And I think if Diafra Sakho doesn't play, I imagine Andy Carroll will come in. Now, he looked pretty sharp, although they drew a blank in the last game against Aston Villa. He looked quite sharp and had a couple of good-headed chances. So I'm going to trust, whether it's Carroll or Diafra Sakho up front with Enner Valencia, I'm going to trust West Ham to get at least 1 goal, and Everton will also be down the score sheet. So over 2.5 for me. I could see a 2-2 draw here.
Yeah, all right then. And Stuart, what do you think here?
Yeah, I can actually. I think Lee's right. I can actually see a draw maybe in this one. West Ham fourth in the league, Everton 10th. I think Everton are artificially low and West Ham are artificially high. Actually, kind of expecting an Everton winning this one, but they've been really poor at the back this season. And West Ham have looked really dangerous going forward. Now, Diafra Sakho is out. I think he will be fit because I've heard that Aruna Kone is definitely out, or Brian Oviedo also might be out, but also John Stones is the only one who's definitely going to miss, and that creates some problems at the back for Everton, and they've had enough problems already this season. I think that it's going to go over. I've looked at it, and over looks like the good option to me.
Yeah, agree with you guys again. I'm going for the Everton.
We're arguing soon, by the way.
Yeah, we've got to argue at some point.
We need to disagree about something soon.
I'm sure I'll have one later.
Could be a good tip, yeah. We've got Everton, obviously, and even for the Everton win here, 1.91. I like both teams to score. I like the Everton win, and I like sort of like a 2-1 scoreline. So mine's the over as well. But we've got some good odds for that one. Over is 1.75 there, and the under is 2.1. So we're all agreeing, and we're all going with the bookies. So far, so good, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, although it'll be just typical if the Chelsea one is 2-0 and it's 0-0 again for Everton. But
yeah,
it looks obvious. These two, I think those two look really obvious to me.
I mean, I'm going to have to disagree at some point. Otherwise, we're all going to win or all going to lose, and that can't happen.
All right. Well, the next match is Leicester versus Sunderland. We'll start with you, Stuart. Which one are you going for? Over or under 2.5 goals?
Leicester Sunderland, I don't think much of either of these sides actually. I'm actually going to go for the under. I think it's going to be a reasonably tight game. I think it may be a 2-0 or just a 1-0. Leicester don't look like they're scoring a lot. Sunderland have had documented problems scoring this season, and yeah, under looks pretty strong to me.
Okay, and Lee?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I'd love to make an argument for it. I think Leicester, they had those goals early on, and you look at the home form, and it's not quite as bad as some people are making out. They had that disastrous 2-2 draw with Burnley, which, if they hadn't conceded that late equaliser, the record would look pretty good. It would be a home draw with Arsenal, a home draw with Everton, when they scored 2 in both those games. Obviously the win against Man United, of course, and then they would have beaten Burnley. They've dropped off a lot, haven't they? They need Leonardo Ulloa to start finding his scoring touch because they won't get many goals from many other players in the team. I want to go overs on this one. I think, the way Sunderland, on their day, and if Stephen Fletcher's playing and playing well, I think they will look to get wide and get crosses into Stephen Fletcher. I don't expect Leicester to continue this run of not scoring or not scoring enough goals. So I think a fresh start for Leicester after the international break. I've been reading a few comments from Nigel Pearson, who's he's obviously making a point of they're needing to get something. I don't think there'll be as much fear in this game as maybe there should be. I mean, these two teams, I think, will be battling it out for relegation in the end, come around April, May time. But I'm going to go overs. I'm going to trust Leicester to get at least 1 goal. And I think Sunderland could get a couple on the break.
All right, well, I think you stand alone here, Lee. I'm with Stuart on this one. I did think it was a match that could go either way, that's for sure. One hand, both teams have difficulty finding the net. And on the other hand, they have a very poor defence. So could go either way. I'm going to go for the under. Looking at the odds here, overs price 2.05, so you're siding against the bookies, Lee. Stuart and I are with the bookies here. Under is 1.83. So there is a divide of opinion.
Yeah, and I think Sunderland's form would look a lot better if they didn't have that 8-0 loss on their record as well. So that's to be taken into account.
Now, moving on, we've got Manchester City versus Swansea. Another one tough to predict, I think. We're going to start with Lee. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious thing would be to go for the for overs and the goals. You've got to think about what's around the corner for Manchester City, of course. A massive match against Bayern Munich coming up in midweek, which they must win, no questions about it. So I think they'll be slightly preoccupied by that game. Swansea's away form hasn't been particularly good. I can see Man City doing a professional job here and just doing what I kind of alluded to what Chelsea might do, and that's win the game and win the game comfortably. There's no way that Manuel Pellegrini could afford to have any more bad results. I mean, look at the form recently, and I think he's third favourite for the next manager to leave the club in the Premier League. So I'm going to go for a Man City professional job, get the job done, 2-0, under 2.5.
Okay, and Stuart, what do you think here? Do you agree with Lee or do you disagree?
Well, I hope it doesn't end up 2-0 to Man City, because on our SBR video I actually went for both teams to score yes. So that wouldn't do me any good at all, especially if I got a little bit of money on that one. I'm going to go against him. I'm going to be with the bookies. I can see this one going over 2.5. I can see a relatively professional performance. I don't think Man City have been too great this year, despite their position in the league. I can see both teams scoring. I can see it being a 2-1 win.
Okay, I'm actually siding with Lee on this one. I'm actually seeing a 2-0, 1-0 Manchester City victory. I think the Swans are having a fantastic season. There's no denying that. But I do think that they are going to approach this match on a sort of a more defensive approach. I think City can get the goals in. I think that the Swans are going to make it difficult for them. So I'm going for a 1-2-0, and I'm going for the under. Now, looking at the odds here, the over is priced 1.53, so the odds are pretty low there for the over. And then the under is priced 2.75. So if that comes in, then I is going to be quids in. But we'll see, we'll see. Okay, next we've got Newcastle versus QPR. The odds can't get much closer than this. It's kind of pretty much neck and neck. We've got the overs priced 1.98 and the under priced 1.95. Let's start with you, Stuart. Which one are you going for?
Well, as I said on the SBR video, I think this one's going to be a draw. I don't really see an outstanding side in either of these two. I certainly don't really see a winner, so I called this one a draw, and I'm going to call this one under 2.5, so I guess that says a 0-0 or 1-1.
Okay, then Lee, what are you going for here?
Yeah, I'll go the opposite. I'll go over 2.5. Still think it's a draw. I think it could be a high scorer. I think Newcastle, this run they've been on has to end sometime soon. They've been, on this unbelievable run. And I think QPR are improving actually. They've had a tough run of games whilst they've been improving. After the last international break, they obviously improved the fitness. They were closing down teams much better. Maybe haven't had the rub of the green all the time, but I think they're starting to score goals. Charlie Austin, of course, has been scoring in consecutive games right up until the international break. So obviously a lot more confidence coming from him and the rest of the team. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a 2-2. I just think it'll be quite open. I think QPR will make it open. And Newcastle, I don't think Newcastle are the sort of team who can carry on keeping clean sheets like they are. So over 2.5 for me.
Okay, I'm going to go for the under 2.5. I can actually see Newcastle 4 out of 5 matches played here, 4 resulting in a clean sheet. I know they're saying QPR, they are stepping up their game. I just can't see it happening in this one. I'm going for Newcastle 1-2 scoreline here. The over, like I said, priced 1.98, and the under priced 1.95 there. So Stuart, you're going for the under. Lee, you're going for the over. I'm going to go for the under. So, right, next we have Stoke versus Burnley. Stuart, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I've had a look at the head-to-heads on this one, and just looking at that, this one is screaming under 2.5. It's regularly a low-scoring match when these two meet. Stoke are in 9th, Burnley right at the bottom of the league and looking pretty destined to go down. Stoke only score about an average of 1 goal a game when playing at home, but they also concede the same amount. So, this one is right on a nice edge, I think, but I'm going for the under. Yeah.
Okay. Lee, what are you going for here?
I'm going the opposite way again. So we've got some agreement at last. I'm going overs. I mean, I've thought about this long and hard though. I mean, initially I thought if I'm going overs, it probably means that Stoke have to score 3, because Burnley don't score many goals full stop. They scored those 2 at Leicester, but that's the only game they've scored goals in away from home. Now the problem for Stoke is that we're being told that they're decimated at the back. If that's true, and if they aren't as solid as they hope they would be, then there could be goals in this game for Burnley as well. I mean, look at Stoke's results at home: 2-2 against West Ham, lost 3-2 to Southampton, 2-1 against Swansea City. And, as Stuart said, they score and concede. So I need Burnley to score a goal here for the over 2.5 to land, but I think they will. I think Burnley, they're not as low down on the shots created tables as you'd imagine they were away from home. They have a lot of shots on goal. It's just that they haven't been able to convert them. I'm going to trust them to convert at least one of them. I can see Stoke winning this 2 or 3-1, to be honest with you. So I'm going to chance this one. I'm not massively confident, but it's all on that Burnley goal. So I'll go over 2.5.
Yeah, sometimes I think you're very, you're hoping that Burnley will get that goal. I just, I just don't have much faith in them to do so. And again, I'm going to go Stoke as well. They're not the highest scorers. I think this match, I agree with you, Stuart. I think it screams the under 2.5 goals. Looking at the odds here, the under is 1.83, the over 2.1. So Stuart and myself are with the bookies. Lee, once again, you're going against the bookies.
Yeah, I like that.
Does that fill you with confidence right now?
Yeah, I like to be. I like to go against the grain.
How do you feel that you're going to win this?
Yeah, I'm fully confident, of course. Yeah.
All right then. Well, okay. So next we have what's the next match here? We've got Arsenal versus Manchester United. A game I'm particularly looking forward to seeing. Over is priced 1.78. The under is priced 2.1. Lee, let's start with you. Are you which way are you going here?
Well, both games were under last season, weren't they? Arsenal didn't score a goal against the Moyes Manchester United. They lost 1-0 and drew 0-0. Injuries have beset both of these sides. We're told Manchester United may have as many as 12 players missing. It's amazing how many doubts actually end up on the field through pressure from the manager or an injection, I don't know. But I expect some will play. But you look at the Manchester United expected backline, it's very weak. One of the weakest defensive fours that I've seen while I've been watching football, to be honest, with Manchester United. And then you've got Arsenal, who have got injury problems and are fragile at the back, but they have got great players up front, like Man United. Alexis Sanchez is in superb form. 6 successive goals in 6 games. He's got 8 in 10 Premier League matches. If he gets a couple of chances, he will score. So I think you can bank on at least 1 goal from Sanchez. I think Arsenal will go for it. I think they know they need to start beating the teams that are going to be around them. So I think Arsenal will win this, and I think it's a definite over 2.5.
Do you there's doubt whether Danny Welbeck will be playing this match with Arsenal? Have you heard any news on that, Lee?
No, wait again. So many fitness tests, and I've seen he's not been taken out of any of the betting. But I think it's one of those where they'll be keeping the cards close to the chest. Obviously, playing against his former club, it'd be just like Danny Welbeck to score against Manchester United, wouldn't it? But no, I haven't seen any news in the last couple of hours about him. But I'm sure once we get into Saturday, then we'll find out whether he's going to play. I don't think it matters too much. I mean, I think if he's played, obviously it's another striker. But Arsenal have got so much attacking potential. I think they're good for a couple of goals. And Man United got Rooney and Van Persie, even if Falcao and Di Maria aren't playing. So still strong up front, Manchester United.
That's right, yeah. And Stuart, what's your thoughts here? Over or under 2.5 goals?
I'm going over as well. I mean, the defence is decimated if you just look at the players that are missing. Daley Blimp's out, and that's going to open up the game massively. Rojo is missing. I'm not sure what that's going to do because he's not been particularly good this season. Then you've got Michael Carrick, who was pulled out of the England squad because he had a niggle. If those players can't play, then I think this game really, really opens up. And then you've got a few players who might make it. You've got Jones, Shaw, Johnny Evans, Raphael. Those guys might make it, but honestly, this could be a really, really makeshift defence. And you might be seeing Blackett at the back again. That's never been particularly good for them so far this season. On the Arsenal side of things, there are also some injuries. Koscielny missed out for France. Mathieu Debuchy will definitely miss this one. He's out injured for a little bit of time. Walcott is probably not going to make this one. Danny Welbeck has got a tight hamstring. Now, I've had a tight hamstring, and you can recover from that in time, definitely. So I'm going over. I'm expecting a few goals. I'm expecting to be pretty open, a pretty good game, really.
Yeah, same. I agree. I'm going for the over 2.5 goals here. I can see an Arsenal win. I can see both teams scoring, and I can see the over 2.5 goals. The over here is priced 1.78, and the under is priced 2.1. So we all agree, and we're all agreeing with the bookies here, and we're going for the shorter odds. But there's still great value there. 1.78, I think, is a bet on its own there. I think that's a pretty decent bet.
Yeah, I agree. I think there could be goals early as well. Like I say, I think Wenger will know. I think it's not a must-win for Arsenal, obviously, but I think with the United team the way they are, I think they do need to win this game to get themselves, a bit of confidence back, because they've thrown away leads in the last 2 games against Anderlecht and Swansea. I think this is an important game for Arsenal. I think they'll get after Manchester United. I wouldn't be surprised if the over 2.5 is landed by half-time, to be honest.
Right, well, as we move to Sunday's matches here, we've got Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. I'm going to start with you, Lee. What are you going to go with?
A tricky game, this one. I've been thinking about this game for days on end. We did the video, and I think I've changed my mind since then as well. it's very difficult to predict what's going to happen with Liverpool. They've scored 3 goals away from home on 2 occasions, and then drawn blanks on other occasions. Look terrible on some days. Palace, we know, don't score many goals, full stop, and we've heard from the manager that he's going to try and set up a very defensive-minded team. I'm going to go under 2.5. On our video that we did, I went for both teams to score in the second half, which I do like a lot still, but obviously 1-1 would do it. If the game opens up in the second half, then I could see the over 2.5 landing, but I think there's a little bit of fear from both sides here. Palace need the points, or point to stave off, dropping further down the table. Liverpool, I think, just need to start building on some confidence. So I'm not massively sure on this, but I'll go under 2.5.
Under 2.5. Okay. Stuart, do you agree with Lee there?
Yeah, I'm on the under as well. I mean, Crystal Palace, they've been a nightmare for me this season. I think pretty much every single bet that I've had to place on, well, I haven't had to, but I have placed on them this season has gone completely against me. They've scored goals when I didn't expect them to, and they've drawn blanks when I expected them to score goals. Liverpool, they're missing Sturridge. Balotelli picked up an injury whilst with Italy. He might make it, and Lambert is yet to really impress for Liverpool. So I'm going against history because often this game does go over, and I'm going against the bookies because they've got average odds around. Sorry, no, I'm with the bookies, aren't I? So yeah, the under. I'm with the under. I'm with Lee.
All right. I'm against you both, I have to say. I'm going for the over 2.5 goals. I think this is a game that Liverpool need to win. They have been shaky, and they are playing against a team who have a leaky defence. I can see both teams scoring. I can see the over 2.5 goals. I'm kind of going with history here, and I'm going against the bookies and against you two boys there. So I'm going for the over, and that's priced 2.05. Yeah, the odds here for the under is 1.9. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's not like neither of us are speaking to you again, so fine.
And are you still sticking with your both teams scoring in the second half, Lee? That bet. Now's the time you can change it.
I know it seems like those two bets don't really fit together, but 1-1 it'll finish. Both goals in the 89th and 90th minutes.
All right.
Well, I hope you're right.
Okay, so next we move over to Hull versus Tottenham. Stuart, I'm going to start with you here. Over or under 2.5 goals?
Oh, you had to go with me first on the Tottenham match, didn't you? Yeah, difficult. Hull not having a great season. Spurs have been up and down, and they've already lost to supposedly lesser teams this season. I think Spurs are really struggling this year, and with a new manager, there's still stuff that's going to be going on. Hull are possibly facing a real defensive crisis in this one. Alex Bruce, Curtis Davies, Mena Figueroa, and Michael Dawson could all miss this one. I think Michael Dawson is pretty much guaranteed to miss it. Spurs have been leaky at the back. They've also had players sent off, which makes things even worse for them. And I'm going for the over, especially when you look Tottenham are actually the 5th best away side in the league right now. And Hull's home form has been pretty poor. So I'm happy with that one. Yeah, over 2.5.
Okay, Lee, do you agree with Stuart, or have you got something else?
I do actually. I think everything that Stuart said is absolutely spot on. I agree with pretty much all of it. I think Hull are due a goal or two as well. I mean, they've suddenly dried up on the goals front when they were doing quite well. I think they've obviously got players who can score goals. So I think it's about time that they got back onto the scoring track. Abel Hernandez and Jovic, of course, and goals from midfield as well for Hull in the early part of the season. So I'm trusting Hull to get back on the score sheet. Tottenham just seem much more suited to being away from home and letting the opposition come onto them and then hitting them on the break. If Harry Kane's play starts, I think that gives them a little bit of a boost as well. So yeah, I think over 2.5 is a really good thing here.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pretty much guarantee that Tom Huddleston's going to score a beautiful goal because he always does.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm going for the over 2.5 goals as well. I can see Hull getting a goal. Tottenham obviously do need to step up their game a little bit, I think, and they need to start scoring a bit more. But I can see them winning. So I'm going to go for both teams to score the over 2.5 goals in this match. The over is priced 2.05 and the under is priced 1.83 here. So yeah, those are the odds there.
I think that's a good bet. Actually, I think that's a decent price actually.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, so next we've got Monday's match here, Aston Villa versus Southampton, and unlike some of the other ones we've previewed, and I think it's been, say, a bit of, in my opinion, a bit of a coin toss, and maybe not a bet that I would have played. I could see maybe 2 or 3 goals. This one I can see the over 2.5 goals. I'm not completely sure about this one. I just think that Southampton. I think Southampton are a team, they are underestimated, and I can personally see Southampton scoring this by themselves. So I'm going with the over here, and that's priced 2.1, and I'm actually going against the bookies. Stuart, what's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I'm with you. I'm actually on the over, and when you look at the stats, I feel a little bit crazy. I feel like I'm absolutely nuts going for this one because Villa are poor in attack at home, and Southampton don't concede many or score many when they're playing away from home. But I just can't see this game not finishing over 2.5 goals. Especially if you look at the injuries, you know, and Saints, they're actually doing okay. They've got James Ward-Prowse and Jay Rodriguez, the only 2 players guaranteed to miss out. But then you look at Villa and their backline; it's terrible. Philip Senderos, he got hurt training with the national squad, and Ron Vlaar's also missing this one. Then you look further up, Fabian Delph dislocated his shoulder, and he's their main creative outlet. And then Benteke's, you know, after that stupid red card, he's out as well, banned. So, yeah. I do feel a little bit sick. Everything should be really crying out for an under, but I'm going for the over anyway.
Why do you think the odds are shortest then for the under? Is it because you know, obviously Southampton's defence there is so tight that, you know, they're not predicting Aston Villa to score here, and maybe they're questioning whether Southampton can actually score more than 2 goals. Lee, what's your take on the over 2.5 goals?
Yeah, I'd go unders. The reason for it, and I guess the reason why it's the favourite of the 2, is that I think, you know, Ronald Koeman's made a point of talking in public about his team being tired. Now, they've all just been away on international duty. You know, they've got problems as well. I mean, if Tadic doesn't play in midfield, he's their main creative player. What happens with Southampton? What's been interesting from watching their performances so far is they don't mind giving away possession. They're not a team who want to have the ball all the time. They're willing to give the other team possession. What they are very good at is breaking play down. So they'll get the ball off the opposition and then attack very quickly. One of the main outlets for that is Tadic. Now, if Schneiderlin's out as well, and he's rumoured to be out, then that could be a major problem for their creative forces. Villa, I think, will just, even with that makeshift defence, and it doesn't look great, I agree with Stuart, Villa will just try and defend to the hill. If they come away with a 0-0 draw, the form that they're in, I think they'll be delighted to pick up a point. So I think Southampton could still win this game, maybe by a goal to nothing. The bet I put up on the video that we did was under 1.5 goals, so I'm more than happy to back the under 2.5.
All right then, so there you have it. What's your take on sort of Southampton? Obviously, are trailing Chelsea. Do they pose a serious threat here to Chelsea for the title, in your opinion?
No, by mid-January they won't be anywhere near, in my opinion. They've got a really tough run of games. Before Christmas and then after Christmas, they've got 3 games grouped together. I think pre-Christmas, just off the top of my head, I think they have Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, and then after Christmas they have Chelsea, Man City, Man United. It's really harsh the way the fixtures have fallen. They might be slightly different, but you get the idea. And the same thing happened last year. It's really interesting. This is in the article I did for Sports Review. 22 points at this exact stage last year. There were 3 points off the leaders, Arsenal, at the time. By January the 1st, they were way down, off 8th place, and really sank like a stone, hardly picking up any points from this point through to the new year. I could see something similar happening because fatigue sets in, players start to pick up a few injuries, and then the strength in depth isn't there. What they've got, though, is they've got a fantastic start to the season, and they could probably still finish in the top 8, I think, but no, you'll start to see them drop off over Christmas.
All right,
yeah,
so...
I agree. Yeah, if you look at their form's been great so far, but they've managed to miss most of the really big sides. And the games they've got coming up are really, really tough, and they don't have the strength in depth. If they pick up a few injuries, then you can really start to see them drop. I do think they're going to finish in a European spot, but not a Champions League spot.
Okay, so that brings us to the end here. We've got, I'll see if I can read my scroll I've written down here. So for the Chelsea versus West Brom, we all agreed. We all went for the over. Everton versus West Ham, we also agreed. We went for the over. Leicester versus Sunderland, I've got Stuart's going for the under, Lee's going for the over, and I went for the under. Manchester City versus Swansea, Stuart went for the over, Lee went for the under, and I went for the under. Newcastle versus QPR. Lee went for the over. Stuart went for the under, and I agreed with Stuart, and I went for the under on that one. Stoke versus Burnley. Stuart went for the under. Lee went for the over, and I went for the under. Arsenal, the Arsenal match here. What have I got? I've got Lee over, Stuart over, me over. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Lee under, Stuart under, and myself over. Hull versus Tottenham. Stuart under, Lee over, myself over. And then Aston Villa versus Southampton. Stuart, Lee, and myself over.
One thing I said over in the whole Tottenham match.
Did you? Whole Tottenham.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, got to get them right. We'll wait until Monday then, I suppose.
Yeah, I was under 2.5 on Villa Southampton as well.
Wait, okay, under here. All right.
Can you? My sound,
I'm trying to trip you up here, Lee.
my sound dropped out on the first 6. Can you just recap them, please?
Did it really?
It's such a long list for you to do. I thought you'd love doing it again.
I tell you my scroll. I'll show you my notes. Look.
That's wonderful.
Scroll. I was like, oh dear, I've got to read these.
I thought you'd have someone doing that for you next year.
I know, yeah. I'll think about that next time. But what I'll do is I'll put this all up. I'll write it down on the. I believe there's like a sort of a description area, so I'll put that down on the Google Hangout so everybody can see those. There's no changing it now. You've all agreed that that's what you said, and then after.
Well, yeah, I agree with what I said earlier. I don't know if I agree with your list, but we'll see.
So yes, I'll put it down, and then when the scores are out on Monday, we'll see who wins and who gets crowned the winner. I'm afraid I've got no prizes, but you can call yourself the winner. That's prize enough.
Yeah,
well, I'm the reigning winner from last time, so come on, bring it on.
All right then, fellas. Well, listen, thank you very much for coming on the show today, and best of luck with your picks then.
No problem.
Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Stuart. Good speaking to you.
Yeah, nice speaking to you. See ya.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.